Retire with $2 million. Assuming you will earn twice the monthly income of a $1 million retiree. After the IRS, the Social Security taxability formula, and Medicare finish their math, you take home $7,300 a month, not $9,600, not double. The gap between you and the $1 million retiree is $2,600, not a calculation error, a structure problem. The provisional income formula hit you first. It counts half your Social Security benefit before your first portfolio dollar leaves the account. That pushed you into the 22% bracket. And Medicare is one income event away from adding a monthly surcharge the lower tier never sees. Every withdrawal you make, every year for the next 30, runs through the same formulas. The larger the account, the less efficiently each new dollar clears them. I am your guide to the real after-tax retirement math. The net numbers most advisors only run when you ask. In the next 14 minutes, monthly spending power at $500,000, $1 million, and $2 million after taxes and Medicare, what each tier actually buys, and the one tier where 3 federal deductions stack at once to produce the lowest effective rate most retirees will ever see. One quick favor before we start. If you want these breakdowns to keep finding you, tap like and subscribe right now. That is all it takes. Now let us run the numbers. Here is how the comparison runs. 3 people, all 67, all single filers, all collecting $2,000 a month in Social Security, close to the 2026 national average. The only variable is how much they saved. 4% annual portfolio withdrawal, traditional tax-deferred accounts, federal income tax only. Your state, your filing status, and account type will change the numbers. Part 1. The $500,000 tier. 4% of $500,000 is $20,000 a year from the portfolio, or about $1,660 a month. Add the $24,000 in Social Security, and total gross income is $44,000 a year. Now, here is where the IRS gets involved. It does not simply tax $44,000. It uses something called provisional income to decide how much of that Social Security benefit becomes taxable. For a single filer, provisional income is adjusted gross income plus half of the annual Social Security benefit. That is $20,000 from the portfolio plus $12,000, which is half of $24,000, for a total of $32,000. Once provisional income crosses the first threshold for a single filer, some Social Security starts becoming taxable. At $32,000, only a modest portion of the benefit is affected. After the 2026 standard deduction, the additional deduction available for being 65 or older, and the new senior deduction that applies for 2025 through 2028 for incomes below $75,000, her federal tax bill comes to approximately zero. She falls below the taxable floor. Medicare Part B at the 2026 standard rate costs $202.90 a month. That is $2,435 a year. All 3 tiers pay this rate unless income crosses the IRMAA surcharge line, which we will get to. $44,000 in. 0 in federal income tax. $2,435 out for Medicare. Net. $41,565. About $3,460 a month. That is a real retirement, but a narrow one. Social Security carries more than half of total gross income. If the market drops hard in the first 5 years, the portfolio withdrawal covers less and there is no buffer. One significant medical expense lands in a month that has nothing behind it. Over a 30-year horizon, that means 3 decades of running the numbers before saying yes to anything. Not a crisis, but not the retirement the portfolio was supposed to buy. Part 2. What happens when you get to $1 million? Double the portfolio from $500,000 to $1 million, and the withdrawal doubles, $40,000 a year. Total gross income becomes $64,000. Provisional income, $40,000 plus $12,000 equals $52,000. That is well past the second single filer threshold, where up to 85% of Social Security can become taxable. The formula works out to about $19,800 of the Social Security benefit counted as taxable income. Add that to the $40,000 withdrawal, adjusted gross income of approximately $59,800. MAGI, the income number Medicare uses to determine surcharge levels, is still below $75,000, so the senior deduction applies in full. After all 2026 deductions, taxable income lands around $35,600. Federal income tax, approximately $4,000. The effective rate on $64,000 of gross income is about 6%. The standard deduction, the over 65 addition, and the senior deduction stack in a way that creates unusual tax efficiency at this income level. This is the most favorable tax zone most retirees will ever occupy. Medicare stays at the standard rate. MAGI is well below the $109,000 single-filer IRMAA threshold, the line where Medicare starts adding a monthly surcharge. $64,000 in, $4,000 in taxes, $2,435 in Medicare. Net, $57,532, about $4,800 a month. The jump from the $500,000 tier, $1,340 more every single month for $500,000 in additional savings. One bad market year does not collapse the plan. There is money for a health surprise, a trip, saying yes when a grandchild needs something. And at 6% effective federal tax, the IRS is barely touching this income. That is the most tax-efficient retirement most Americans at this income level will ever see. Part 3. What the 1 million shift actually means. The dollar figure understates it. At $500,000, Social Security carries 55% of total gross income. You are dependent on a federal program for more than half your budget. At $1 million, the portfolio takes 63%. Social Security was never designed to be the primary income source for a 30-year retirement. At this tier, it finally does not have to be. That shift in dependency is worth as much as the $1,300 monthly gain. Part 4. The second million and what it costs. Now let us go from 1 million to 2 million. Portfolio withdrawal rises from $40,000 to $80,000 a year. Total gross, $104,000. Provisional income, $80,000 plus $12,000 equals $92,000. Social Security is now fully in the 85% taxable zone. The cap is 85% of the annual benefit, $20,400. AGI, $100,400. Here is where one of the deductions thins out. The senior deduction, $6,000 per person, phases out once MAGI exceeds $75,000 for a single filer. At a MAGI of $100,400, the deduction is substantially reduced. The calculation below removes it entirely, the conservative approach, and the one that makes this tier's after-tax number reliable rather than dependent on a phase-out formula still being finalized in IRS guidance. After the standard deduction and the over 65 addition, taxable income is approximately $82,250. That pushes into the 22% federal bracket. Federal income tax, approximately $13,000. The effective rate on $104,000 of gross income is roughly 12.5%, double the rate at the 1 million tier. Medicare still sits at the standard rate. MAGI at $100,400 is below the $109,000 IRMAA threshold, but barely. A Roth conversion, a year with stronger dividends, or the sale of any appreciated investment could push MAGI over that line. The Tier 1 IRMAA surcharge adds $81.20 per month to Part B premiums, about $975 more per year, billed in the calendar year 2 years after the income spike. That is money the $1 million retiree never has to think about. $104,000 in, $13,000 in taxes, $2,435 in Medicare. Net, $88,565, about $7,300 a month. Part 5, what 2 million actually buys, and the number that should recalibrate your thinking. $2,600 more per month than the 1 million tier. That buys meaningful things. International travel once or twice a year. The freedom to live in a higher-cost city without financial pressure. Long-term care insurance that does not stretch the budget. The ability to give real gifts to children or grandchildren without touching principal. A bad medical year that does not alter the retirement plan. But here is the comparison I want you to hold in your head. Getting from $500,000 to $1 million cost $500,000 in additional savings and added $1,340 a month to what you can spend. Getting from $1 million to $2 million cost $1 million in additional savings, twice as much capital, and it added $2,600 more a month. On a per $1,000 saved basis, the first leap delivers about $2.68 per month for every extra $1,000 you saved. The second delivers about $2.58. Inside this scenario, single filer, traditional accounts, same Social Security, same withdrawal rate. Every additional dollar past $1 million runs into a higher tax bracket and a tighter Medicare margin. This is not an argument to stop at $1 million. $2 million is genuinely a stronger position. But if you are at $1 million and someone is telling you the only real retirement starts at $2 million, ask them to show you the after-tax math. Not the gross number, the net, the one insight. The first million does the heavy lifting, not because $1 million is a magic finish line or a number from a headline, because the tax system and Social Security interact at the 1 million tier in a way that maximizes what you keep. The deductions stack. The effective rate stays low. The quality of retirement changes fundamentally. The second million matters, but it competes harder for the same dollar. In a traditional tax-deferred account with this income profile, you spend it at a higher effective rate, and you are always one income event away from a Medicare surcharge. For most people in most cities without a paid-off home, the real anxiety point is below $500,000, not the gap above $1 million. If you're at $500,000 right now and asking what to do next, the math is clear. Every dollar you add between here and $1 million will do more work in your retirement than any dollar you save after that. That is not an opinion. That is what the tax code does. If you do not yet know your own Social Security estimate, go to ssa.gov and pull your personal statement today. Then run your net numbers, not the gross ones. That is the calculation that actually tells you what you have. The numbers in this video are based on a single filer, age 67, with a $24,000 a year Social Security benefit and all savings in a traditional tax-deferred account. Married couples, Roth account holders, and people with pensions or other income sources will see different math. State taxes come on top of everything I showed you. This is not financial advice. Every situation is different. For your specific numbers, work with a qualified fiduciary who is legally required to put your interest first. If this gave you a clearer picture of where the real threshold is, drop the word tiers in the comments. It tells me you want more of these side-by-side breakdowns, and it helps others like you find this video. Hit the like button before you go, and subscribe if you are not already. Until next time.